switch could turn on very quickly and not just turn into me just yelling at someone, but actually turn into violence. And I could get in a fight pretty easy. And as I started on this spiritual path, I started to work on different things that stopped me from actually getting into physical altercations with people pretty early on, many, many years ago. But there was one time when I would get angry and I could hardly contain myself. And that would be when I was riding my bicycle. I would be riding my bicycle on the street, and some driver would do something that got me upset. Like almost knock me off the road, something like that. Or drive by and just hold the horn down, right? Or drive by and make some gesture, something like that, right? And I realized right away what was going on, that when this occurred, it was because fear triggered the anger in me. So I would do things like, on the bicycle, if somebody did something, I would chase them down. Well, they thought they're in a car. They're not even thinking I'm going to chase them down, right? They're in a car. They think they're gone. But I would catch them somewhere at a stoplight, something like that. I tried to get them to get out of the car. One time I was riding down Charles Street this way, and when we got to the corner of 9th Street, I was going straight across, and the van came up right beside me and turned right in front of me. And it was because he actually was mad at me from something that happened a block away, and I didn't even realize it. So I start going as hard as I can. I get up beside the van, and I start I'm riding on the bike, and I'm pounding on the side of the van to get the guy to pull over. He does. He pulls over, but he won't get out. And I had thrown the bike up on the curb, and I was yelling at him, telling him to get out, and some other guy stopped, and when the guy pulled off in the van, the guy who stopped said to me, "You're going to be upset about this all day long." And I kept thinking about it. Another time I'm riding on, and I realized, and I would talk about it after these things happened, after these violent outbursts of emotions would happen. I'd go to a meeting, I'd call somebody on the phone, I would talk to them about how it just gets so enraged over this, and I always felt bad. Just because of the wash of adrenaline, I felt bad. But I also felt guilty because I'm supposed to be spiritual. I'm not supposed to react this way. So I'll tell you, a lot of times it was very difficult for me, and this happened, at least a dozen times this happened. One time I'm going down Charles Street this way, and this guy just out of nowhere just stuck his hand out the window and gives me a gesture, right? Out of nowhere. So I chase him down. He turns down here. They don't see me coming. They stop to talk to somebody on the corner over here in the neighborhood over here. And I pulled up, throw the bike down, and tell the guy to get out. I was talking to some kids, some young kids who were up to no good on the street there. And I try to get him to come out of the car, and he won't. And he has his girlfriend pull away. And I said to the kids, I said, "You see what happened there?" Oh, still. I said, "You see what happened there?" And they go, "Yeah, man, he was scared." And then it hit me, it just came over me, and I said, "You know what? We're all scared." It just came over me what was going on. And the whole thing was based in and motivated by fear, which turned to anger. So, okay. I shared it at the Course in Miracles meeting that night that this thing had happened. And there was a woman there. After I shared it, she never came back to Course in Miracles. Anyway, yeah. Then it was a couple months after that. I was working at UPS at night, and I'm riding home, coming down Kilburn, and I was staying with Kimmy. And so I was coming down Kilburn. I got to Kilburn School Street, and there was a gang of young men in the street, and they were, I would say, between the ages of 14 and 17. There might have been an 18-year-old among them. And I'm riding fast. I'm standing on the pedals and I'm riding. And one of the kids stepped over and hits me with both hands like this. And I went tumbling through the street. And I was going at least 20. And I tumbled down the street. And then all of a sudden, all of them were on top of me. Now, it's very difficult. You think you see these, 2 people can actually really get on top of you, 3 can too, but once there's more than that, they get in each other's way, right? But they were kicking me, and it was a, I got this vision in my mind of young lions learning to hunt. That's the vision that came to me when this happened. And but it was the strangest thing, was like, I didn't even feel the blows. And I stood up, and there was one kid hanging on my back. And I stood up and just stood there, did not strike anyone. This is totally outside of my previous reactions. I did not strike anyone, and I stood there, and this peace descended on me, and I heard someone saying, "Peace, be still." 3 times. Peace, be still. And then I realized it was me. And they stopped. And there I was standing in the middle of the street with all these guys around me. And we were just looking at each other. And the one who had, the oldest one, looked like to me, who had actually pushed me over on the bike, just nodded. And I got back on the bike, and I rode home. And the ego tried to come in and say, "You need to go back there. You need to do this, you need to do that." And I just released it. I just totally released it. And the next day I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody that it had occurred. I said nothing. The next day I got up and I was thinking about it, and I thought, this is one of the things that, see, right then in that moment, a miracle occurred. A miracle occurred that included a number of things. The first miracle, and for me the most important, was I was at peace in the midst of danger and did not strike out. And I call this, to myself, I call this my end of violence. So, but the next day I got up and I said, "No, this is weird. It's just couldn't. I'm trying to talk myself out of this miraculous event." And so I said, "All right, here's what I'm going to do. Tonight when I ride to work, I'm going right back the same way." And so I went down the road the same way, and they weren't there. Either way, going or coming, they weren't there. The next day, they weren't there. The third day, as I'm riding down the street, I see them gathered on the corner. And I slowed down, and as I'm approaching, the one kid says, "Hey, here comes old dude." And as I pass, I got eye contact with the kid that had pushed me down. And we just acknowledged each other. There was nothing, it was just calm, and there was no problem whatsoever. And after that happened, many times I rode down the street and they were there. And we would just nod. And everything was good. So I didn't tell anybody for a long time. Finally, after it all had, I had digested it all, I saw that this was a gift to me. That this was a gift to me. And now, when I tell this story, I mean, I've had so many different reactions. I've had people come up to me and say, "You told me that story, I got so mad, I wanted to go out there and I wanted to just get them myself. I can't believe it." And I had other people say to me, "Well, what, you should have just picked the bike up and swung it around," or, But here's the point. The point is I was freed from fear. I was freed from anger. And also, I got to experience that moment of peace, which then it wasn't a theory anymore. It's not about, I'm hoping that someday this is going to happen, that in the midst of a very terrifying, even could have been, experience, that I could come to peace. And not only could I come to peace, but that peace in me could be extended to someone else. This is a precious thing. So I share it and I tell you it's a secret story, and now it's on tape. It's a secret story. Don't tell anybody this story. If you want somebody to hear the story, tell them to come to me, and I'll be happy to tell them. Same thing for you guys out there, whoever's watching. So, all right. So here's what it says at the end, the last piece in this What is a Miracle? Miracles fall like drops of healing rain from heaven on a dry and dusty world, where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Now they have water. Now the world is green, and everywhere the signs of life spring up to show that what is born can never die, and what has life has immortality. And that's a miracle.